really need to work on your behavior. Who raised you, folks? That's what I want to know. Here goes Mama Flips. I can see this is going to be quite the show already tonight. Mama Flips, welcome in.
Hi, how are you? I'm supposed to be coming here as strong face and mean face, and you have me laughing. First of all, what happened to my music?
No music, no music.
I mean, I
We're,
was
we're,
expecting
we're
my
gonna
own
have the
song
closing.
coming in.
We're gonna have
Okay.
the closing song today. We're getting right down to business.
All right. So Mel filled me in on. Unfortunately, I was en route, busy at work and en route here, so I didn't have the opportunity to listen to the person that gave you insight into, I guess, the autopsy report. Is that what
The
you're talking?
pathologist, yes, yes. We
Pathologist.
had a
Did you want to
doctor
play
on.
some of that, or you just going to tell me what they said?
No, the main thing is some of the highlights, some of the things that people walked away with from Ben Crump, they thought were, one way. It turns out that she was able to explain it at a higher level to help us to understand. Like people said, oh, there was no lungs, no stomach, but she kind of broke it down to they don't send over the whole lungs, the whole stomach, but they send over, a portion for testing or what have you.
So as I was telling Mel, when Mel started telling me, I've been dealing with a lot of nonsense the last few days about people and the way they word things, right? And sometimes people use words in order to get their point across in a certain way so they could sway you to think different ways, right? It's not that they're technically lying. They're not lying. They're telling their truth, but they word it in a way where it implies that somebody else is lying or that somebody else is not educated or not educated on the subject matter. So it's funny that he brought this up today because I've been dealing with this for the last week or so. Last week. So I'm asked Mel because not disparaging the doctor because I'm guessing the person is the doctor, right? Or they
Correct.
have a doctor title, not disparaging the doctor. I just asked him specifically, did the doctor indicate that the report that was given to Ben Crom, right, say specifically that they are submitting portion of the lungs and the liver, right, which is protocol, or they're withholding the throat, the piece of the throat. Oh, my volume is low. They say my volume is low. I'm sorry, I sound very loud over here. Maybe it's because I'm very calm.
I took care of it.
Can you hear
It's all
me?
right.
Can you hear me? Because someone say my volume low.
I
So
took care of it, so you're
I'm
good.
just saying, yeah. So I'm saying that is it possible that the report that was given to Ben Crumb that he read it the way it was given? He is not a doctor, so there is no way for us to know that he would have known that they do not send over the liver and the lungs or a portion of the throat. Because if he's not a doctor, he's just going to read the report, and the report is going to say that these things are missing. So why would the implication be that he's given misinformation, or he did not give
That
a full
wasn't said.
account?
That wasn't said.
So
That
what
wasn't.
exactly was said?
The point of the matter was that people walked away. It's more about what people walked away believing once they heard the report, and they felt that. In fact, a lot of people at the extreme they were saying, "Oh, they were missing organs." That was not the case. But even on a small level, people felt like the lungs were not there, and the stomach was gone. And she just explained, how it works, and that actually it's just misreading the report. So that's understandable to me.
Was the stomach there?
Not in its entirety, but that's not the protocol.
But exactly. It doesn't. When you're speaking to lay people and they're listening to reports, maybe he should have had a pathologist there to explain. Maybe he should have had the independent person who did the autopsy to explain. Maybe he should have had the doctor. But the point is that the report that he read that was given to him said that the stomach wasn't there, the lung wasn't there. I don't know why I said liver. The lung wasn't there. The piece of the throat wasn't there. That means that he mentioned what was there. And for the rest of us that's lay people, we would say, wait, what's going on? First of all, if we had the result of the autopsy in the first place, we wouldn't be worried about the different, right, the lungs and the stomach and the throat missing, right? You're
But yeah.
hiding the autopsy results. You're not telling the mom and dad what's there, right? So now,
Oh
all
my
of a
God.
sudden, we want to know what's up. So if I'm not getting the answer, right, because you're hiding it, and you said all of a sudden, out of all the different autopsies in the world that's done in Mississippi, where we get answers, you decided you want to take it over to the jury, right? So they could do a follow up, a follow through, right? So you mean to tell me that now I realize I don't have the autopsy report. You're not talking to me. You're not talking to the parents. You're giving them nothing. You mom. And now when I read the report and I see things are missing, I'm supposed to just assume like, oh, this is just protocol, right? This is just protocol. Yeah, I should have known. All of a sudden, all the policies, the procedures that they do, and all the testing that they do. I'm supposed to be an expert on that when we just want to know what happened to Nolan.
Okay, so let me ask you this question. You go to court. Let's say your attorney is my good friend Brian Steele. Okay,
Oh, yeah, it's
and
Robert
and
Brown.
when you give the and by the way, I wore a red tie just for you tonight. Good for you.
You were
I
doing
hope
so
I
well
hope it
too.
I hope it
You were
makes you
doing so
miserable.
well.
I hope it makes you
You were doing
miserable.
so well too with the blue tie. You see, you
I
got
hope
me
it.
so set
I hope
up
the
that
red.
I didn't
I
even
hope the
see the
red
red
tie
tie.
makes you miserable.
You
You
see,
know what
you
I mean?
set me up before I even started, so I don't even see the red tie. But I would have noticed eventually. But go ahead, go ahead.
It's the bull effect. When I
uh,
wear the red
and the
tie,
blue
you
suit.
can't
And you got the
control
blue suit too.
you can't control yourself. You
You
see what
got
I'm
the blue.
saying?
You got the blue suit too, and the white shirt.
Orange,
Ah,
orange. This is orange. This is your eyes and you're off. So anyway, if you have Brian Steele
yes,
representing you in court, right? Are
yes.
you going to give your opening arguments, or are you going to have Brian Steele do your opening arguments? See if you can
I will
answer
have.
strict questions. Let's try this
Yes, I would
tonight.
have the lawyer who has who to
Okay,
give the opening
so
arguments, right?
Ben Crump, whose responsibility should it have been to have the proper person read the report when they did the press conference? Who should have came to that conclusion so that he didn't read it improperly and people
He did
run
not.
away? Hold on, and
That's
people run away saying, "Oh my God, there's missing parts," right?
he
And if
did
the
not read. He did not read because your pathologist expert, who is a doctor, felt that he read it incorrectly. Doesn't mean that he read it
that was not
incorrectly.
her words. I just want to make
Okay,
that clear.
but
You have to
that's
actually
fine.
watch it, but the
I will
general point
definitely watch
is
it
that people were sent on a tangent for apparently
because the lungs
it's not as
wasn't
that
there.
serious.
No, 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 but it's serious to us though, right? It's serious to us because the lungs wasn't there, the stomach wasn't there, the throat wasn't there, and there was no follow up explanation to make us feel comfortable to say that oh, it's protocol, right? Because we're missing so many different things. So if you start the premise by not giving us any information, right? You decide not to give us any information. We don't have the report or nothing, right? So we're
Hmm.
going to look at all the details. And if things are missing, we're going to focus on the missing stuff. So yes, if I don't see a lung, if I don't see a stomach, and I don't see a throat, and I don't have an explanation for it, I'm going to say exactly that because it's not here. It's not here. That's why I was asking, did it specifically say in the report about the policies and procedures that says, oh, this wasn't here, that wasn't there, but I'm submitting this particular portion so that they could have an independent review or testing of this particular portion because this is protocol. That's what I'm saying. If it wasn't said in that report, if he had the report and it specifically said all of that, and he deliberately did not read it because he wanted to sensationalize it, right? Then that's another conversation, right? But I don't know if that's true. Now, because you come in as an expert and said this is what should have been said, it's almost like me and my job. I'm extremely good at my job, like extremely, extremely, extremely good. But I know that when I start speaking about certain subject matters in my job, right? If I'm speaking to another fellow person that have
Right.
the same qualifications, as me and same knowledge will speak on a higher level. However, I always do seminars in which I speak to other vendors, right? So when I speak to vendors, and depending on which vendor I'm speaking to, if I'm speaking to a vendor that I believe that is pretty much like, someone I'm more comfortable with, which people, which is most likely black and brown people who I have an easier, you know, dialect with, I could speak to them in our dialect, right? We could speak to each other and I could get very comfortable and say, hey, this is what I expect. And why didn't you submit that? You know you're supposed to submit that. Why didn't you do it that way? You know you're supposed to submit it like that. But if I'm speaking to another culture and they come to me in a different language, a different lingo, I'm like, well, the actual proper protocol is to do it this way and that way. And if you have any other questions, then you come back to me. You see, you are the same person, but you're in the same person in a different scenario. So that doesn't mean that the person that's speaking to my homegirl or someone that I feel comfortable with is lying any more than the person that's speaking to the white educational professor to the one that is speaking to my colleague. I'm the same person. I'm
Oh
just giving
God.
the information that I've been giving in different ways. I'm not lying about any of the information. That's what I'm saying. And by what you told me, it was almost like, oh, Ben Crumb did it just to sensationalize it because he wants to make it an ace thing and stuff like that. So he sensationalized. This is
See,
pathetic.
I said nothing like that.
I know
See what
you
I'm
didn't say
saying?
anything like that, but this is where I'm going
See,
with it.
this is gonna be a rough night.
Of
We
course,
not
for you, yes.
if we were building a garden, the first row is already off to a bad start.
It's already have weeds in it. Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
because you're wrong, and not only are you wrong, you're so adamant about being wrong. So I
How
don't
am
know how
I
we're gonna correct
wrong?
this here.
You said this is what you said. You said to me
Who?
that they misspoke, right? Did you not say that he misspoke and that because he misspoke, he let people leave the press conference thinking that body parts were missing? That's what I heard.
Okay, so that's what you heard.
Okay, what did you say?
Here's the main presiding point.
Mm-hmm.
That if you don't know how to read the report or you can't, like you say you're so good at your job, right? I would
Mm-hmm.
probably come over there, not even know where to begin, right?
Yes.
Okay, so I wouldn't be a good candidate to read your report and try to explain it to people. So let's say you're in
Sort of have to
Belgium,
disagree.
right? You're away, then I would get
Exactly.
somebody that's in your league to read the report. And so then
Not
people,
necessarily.
oh
No.
God, help
No, no,
us.
no, 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 no. For real. Now, in my office, right, we have a
Oh
set of
God.
we have a number of professionals. We each have our own. We each have our own experiences and qualifications, right? So let's say I cannot be there. There is someone else in my office that can take over. What they'll do is they'll take the information that I gave them, right? Don't Jesus Christ me.
Is
They'll
it the
take the
janitor? Let me
information.
ask you a question. Is it the janitor?
It's not the janitor, but it's someone who is in my office, right? Who has worked with me,
Oh
right?
my
Who
God, bro.
knows somewhat of what I do, but they have the information, right? They have my card, they have the pamphlet, they have everything in which they can relay the information to the vendors that come and talk to us, right? So they're gonna give the information. If they ask questions, they will open up the pamphlet, and they will answer. They will give them the answer that I wrote down,
You're
right?
losing this
But if,
battle.
excuse me, I'm not losing the battle. They
You're
will give
losing
the
this
answer.
battle.
So I
You're just
disagree.
killing
I
us slowly
disagree.
right now. You're
I
just
am not, because what I'm saying is Ben Crumb. You don't. We have to agree to disagree. Ben Crumb read the
oh
report
my
that was given to him,
God.
right? He read it. It did. I'm asking a very simple question. Did it say in the report that the stomach and lungs were missing? This is policy procedures, and we're providing a portion for the testing.
We
Did it
couldn't
say
see
in
the
the report?
report. We couldn't see the report. It was based on what he was saying, and I'm telling you that based on what he said, a lot of people walked away feeling that they were missing body parts.
Because body parts wasn't there. I
Oh
still stand
God.
on that. It
Okay,
wasn't
so
there. So
so you should.
unless you guys, what I'm saying is that maybe we should just give Ben Kwam grace, because unless we have proof, the report said certain things, right? and he deliberately did not read the report correctly because he wanted to sensationalize it. That's what I'm saying. That we need to
The
be able
question
to
is, here's the question. Can he read? He's a lawyer. Can he read the report properly if he's not a doctor? That's the question.
according to this doctor, no, right?
No,
According to this
according to
doctor.
common sense. Can he is he qualified to, will you let him do your shoulder surgery or prescribe you some medication? You know what I mean?
But I would allow
S-
him to do a presentation of something that I put together. So
So
whatever he got from the from his pathologist that did it independent, what can we say? What if his independent pathologist, the person that did the autopsy, what if they gave him the Excel spreadsheet or the presentation and he just read off of it? That's what I'm
let me
asking.
ask you a question, right? Now, I'm not trying to be mean. I'm not trying to send people in the wrong direction,
Hmm.
but people were hung up that he couldn't even pronounce the words, so let alone explain.
Exactly. This
And
is where
and
we're
that's
going.
no, that's no. I'm not.
This
I'm
is where
not
we're going
target.
with it. I knew
Listen.
we were going there.
Oh my God.
I knew we were going there
I'm not.
because that's the
I
thing,
couldn't
right?
do it. I'm not targeting that. What I'm saying is, it would have been effective to just have another pathologist if this guy couldn't be there to fill in, because the way she explained it tonight was at such a high level.
Mhm.
It's almost like a contradiction to what I heard when
Of
I
course.
actually listened to the
Of course. So
press conference.
the doctor that you had here,
Pathologist, yeah,
pathologist that you have
did a
here,
beautiful job too,
may
by
I
the way.
ask the pathologist nationality and also you said it was a female, right?
Now, why does everything have to be about
I'm just
color? Oh
asking what
my
nationality was the
God.
pathologist. That's what
Oh
I'm
my
asking.
God, man. I don't know. We're
I'm
doomed.
asking a simple question. Are we talking about a fellow white
Oh
tea
my God.
sister, a black
Oh
sister?
my
What we
God.
talking about
Somebody
here?
help me.
I'm just
I'm
asking.
not even going to tell you the color because
No,
your
I'm just
color.
asking a specific
You,
question because she has such high level, right? I'm sure her
God,
communication was up to
geez.
par to Mel's Smith and everybody else. Was she
Listen.
an
Oh God,
educated
help me, man.
black woman or educated white woman? That's what I'm
We're
asking.
not even we're not even 20 minutes into this show,
Just
and I can't
asking a
even
simple
breathe right now.
question. At
Listen,
the
what
end
is
of
her
the day, let me
color?
tell you. Let me ask you, since you
What
don't
is your
want
kick
since you
with
don't want
color?
to answer.
Listen, no, no, this is
Since
a
you don't want
debate
to answer,
tonight.
let me finish. Let me
Why
finish.
do you need to know her color?
The reason why, because I want to make sure that my answer is appropriate. Appropriate. So if it's a black sister, I want to say it a certain way. And if it's a white sister, I want to say it a certain way. But since I don't
She's
know who
licensed.
they are,
How about this? She's licensed
okay. So
and
she's
she's a
licensed and
board
she's high
certi
level.
listen, her she's a board certified
Mm-hmm.
forensic pathologist.
Mm-hmm.
Does it matter if
Sure.
she's green or purple?
It
Does
matters
any
to
of
me
that
because I
matter?
wanted to make a statement.
Oh,
My
okay.
statement is that a
Okay.
lot of people feel away
She's
about
about your
the
she's
way.
about your complexion. So there's
Thank
your
you.
answer. Okay.
Thank you so much. My answer is that a lot of people feel a way about Ben Crump because of his accent and because of the way he speaks. A lot of people feels that just because he speaks a certain way, he doesn't have the qualification or education. They tease him about the way he communicates with others. They messed around with him because of the way that he was reading some of the presentations. Okay, so the reason why I say that is because we have different levels. None of us is
Thank you, Murray.
right? We all have different gifts and stuff like that. Obviously, he's a brilliant lawyer because he's very successful. The reason why I say that is because I know for a fact that I get that all the time, right? Because the way I speak very manufactured. I speak one, two, three, four, five. But if you get me in a room with a lot of the huge CEO,
You're
my
gonna
vocabulary may improve, but generally I speak in the same way that I'll speak to you. Some people, when I walk into the room, depending on where I walk in the room, they do not think I am who I am. Some people think I'm the reception. I'm the secretary, right? I've had that my entire life, right? When they realize who I am in real life, that's when they were like, okay, okay, what's going on here? Because I just see the sister sitting there. So I take it a little bit more personal because sometimes we don't have the same gifts as others, right? That doesn't make us any more less important or any less intelligent. So I don't like when people say that about Ben Crumb because they always implying that because the way he speaks, it limits him. That's why I say.
But what does that have to do with what we're talking about?
It's liquid. It has exactly what to do with what I'm saying.
Here's the point.
Saying
There's
that,
one point right here, only
what's
one
the point?
point. If he couldn't read the report
We don't.
based on the liability of people walking away not understanding properly,
That's where you
it would have been wise to
now.
have a person in that field
We
read the
don't know
report.
if he didn't read the report correctly because we didn't see the report. We didn't see the report. Did you show her? Okay, maybe I'm missing something. The pathologist that you had there, did you show her the report? Did you get a copy of the report, Mel?
She has a report herself. Yeah.
Okay, so she brought the report on that from the
No,
independent or
she has the report, same report that I have. It's right there online. It's not the real report, but there's a little segment, I think 5 pages that was put out, you know.
and in that report, it says the policy and procedures is not to submit, is not to give the stomach and the lungs, right?
No, listen, let
I'm
me
asking. That's what I'm asking you.
no. Listen, you're the one that explained it that when you're high and you do this for your company, your
Yes,
world,
yes,
when you meet someone that's
yes,
like you don't have to
yes.
explain to them what you would
Exactly,
have to explain to me because I'm not in your field, right?
exactly.
So therefore, it doesn't need to have explanations
But
in
I
the
did
report.
went on to say, if I'm not here and I don't have anybody else available, I am comfortable enough to have one of my staff members read my presentation, right? They because it is a presentation, but I cannot blame my staff members if I did not include everything in the presentation. I can't do that. So that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm
Okay.
saying. I'm saying that if it, because it's the implication to me, and I
What's
could
up,
be completely
Calvin?
wrong, is the fact is that he read what he was given, right? And he read it. Was he the right person to read it? I don't know. Should he
You
have
don't
gotten
know?
a pathologist? I don't know. What I'm saying is that he read it, and in reading it, it shows that certain body parts was not there, along with everything else they've been hiding, right, about this case. Yes, I would say the same thing. Like, look, I can't get the report. The family can't get the report. And as you can see, this is the report that I was given. And because the independent pathologist could not get these organs because they were not forwarded, they couldn't conclude what happened to Nolan Wells.
Okay,
That's all
so
I'm saying.
all right, so guys, we didn't even get to start the debate yet because
Oh
Mama
my
Flips
God.
is
Okay, well,
all
let's move on.
already she's on
Let's
a
move on.
tangent about something
Let's
totally
move
different.
on. Let's move on. We can move on. Go ahead.
So no, people want to know what we're debating. So I just want to let them
Okay.
know that you started on this whole kick before we even
Hey,
uh,
let's continue.
got involved. Let me ask. Well, I don't want to do that. Let's just keep moving.
No, ask me.
I don't want to ask the audience because then that might
No, no,
get
they
you a
might
little
agree with
rowdy.
you. They might agree with you, right? And just submit to me. I don't want to appear as if we're blaming
Here's
Trump. That's all I'm saying.
here.
That's all I'm saying.
Listen, I get it. You like Ben Crump. That's great. He's a good brother. Okay,
He's a good
is
fight.
that
He's been
better?
fighting a big fight for many years, especially when it comes to the unalivement of black and brown people. And unless someone comes to me and show me that he deliberately is doing certain things in order to skew the narrative or be dishonest, I will take homage to it because I think that he's a honest guy. That's just me.
Let me ask you this question, right? Let's say you're in court. We go to court all the time, right? So
Yeah.
instead of having the expert come in, let's say the attorney decides, listen, I'm going to do the
Which
report
they do.
myself. Does that
Which is
make
what Mark
sense?
Agnophilia did, yeah, in the Diddy trial. That's why Diddy got off.
Which report did he read?
Oh, all his the reports that he did not read,
No. What
besides
expert?
the
What?
lies that he told.
See, you're
But
that's not even
but
the
go ahead.
point. No, I'm saying instead of bringing in a medical expert,
Yeah.
the attorney, let's say Calvin Johnson, say, "Oh, you know what? Shout out to you, Calvin. Good to have you here." Calvin says, "I don't need the expert. I'm going to read the medical report myself." That wouldn't make sense, right? So,
I understand what
here's my point, right?
I understand what
We had a pathologist, a board certified forensic pathologist on tonight.
hmm
She clarified that it wasn't that the lungs and the stomachs were completely missing. She explained how it was packaged and sent over
hmm
in accordance to the protocol.
hmm
Okay. But
Yeah.
people walked away thinking that, oh, we're looking for the lungs and for the stomach. That if you even go to like mainstream media, a lot of them are still saying, well, we don't have the lungs and the stomach. She actually was able to break it down so we could understand it. And then she also talked about the neck and how it goes into a special chemical. She would have held the neck too. So when you hear it from her, all I'm saying is if you had somebody like that, when it came to the original or the preliminary report, then people would have walked away and would have said, oh, okay, I understand because I'm hearing it from the pathologist, not an attorney. It's no shot at Ben Crump. I'm just saying hearing it from her made a difference.
Okay, so here's my question: do she know how he passed away?
No, nobody
Okay,
knows how he passed
there
away.
we go. We can move on. Thank you for her coming in
She
and doing
she
it.
made that she made that very clear tonight. She don't
Okay.
nobody knows how he
And again,
passed
I don't
away.
want to. I'm not trying to disrespect. I'm sure that that person, I mean, the pathologist that you have is very credible, and they actually she knows exactly what she's doing, and I'm sure that she knows about the policy procedures. And maybe Ben Crump should have hired her to come and read the report and give a summation of what happened. Right. I just want to make sure that we're clear that we're not trying to disparage what Ben Crump did. That's all I'm
Uh,
saying.
how do
That's
I look?
all I'm
How do
saying.
I look in my Trump tie tonight? Is it good?
You look like a con.
Here we go, guys. I know how to get her round up here. So this is Thursday night.
You look like Uncle Ruckus Coonering. That's what you look like
I
over
love
here.
it. I love it every time you say it.
Looking like
See,
one of them. Looking like one of them. There's
yeah.
nothing wrong with it though, but you know.
Wait, does the blue suit make me a Democrat though,
No, apparently,
or can I
apparently
be
you
in between?
the people of the other side like to have a blue suit and a white shirt and a red tie.
Oh,
That's
so that's Republican now.
yeah, that's their
Oh,
thing. But they
okay.
want to
All right.
emulate
Cool.
the
All right.
leader. That's what
So
they do.
so let's get to the debate tonight. I'm gonna
Yes.
push back against you. Okay.
Okay, go ahead.
What do you want to talk about? You want to discuss Carmelo
I
Anthony
want to speak about
and his
Carmelo Anthony.
behavior? Let's talk about his behavior.
Yes, please. Let's go.
And you're
Let's
gonna
go.
obviously be in pro. I'll be against you. So we'll
Of
go.
course.
Okay. So you
Yeah.
want to start?
Well, I heard some of the information that they had, not all, against Carmela Anthony. I heard there's been some people, just not even some, a couple of people that inferred that as a result of what they found in Carmela Anthony's phone, it's understood why he possibly was found, railroaded through the trial, right? And got 35 years because of the gentleman agreement was a good idea because what he did was so atrocious that it equals the Metcalf, which is Austin and Hunter Metcalf, that it was a good idea because he would have got found guilty anyway. I heard that he had something disparaging to say about black women in regards to the wig and the glue, and
Oh
someone
my. What
indicated. That's what I heard. I'm just
what
telling you what I
what
heard.
what did he say about black
I
women
heard that
in
there's something in which he
wigs
was
and glue?
disparaging black women because women wear wigs and glue. This is something that I heard. I have not seen the list, so I have to be careful. So I'm just telling you what I heard, right? And there was some indication that some people was saying that as a result of some of the stuff that he said about black women, that maybe we as black people should not continue to support Kamala Anthony because he was not one of us. Okay? That's what I heard. There's a
Okay.
debate of whether which is worse. Was it Austin and his brother was worse than Kamala Anthony? And I meant to send you a photo. Did you see the photo on Twitter? Apparently, the exhibit, and I don't know if it's a true exhibit, is Kamala Anthony. Not Kamala Anthony. I took a picture of it of Austin actually reaching and putting hands on his mom. That there was a photo of that. Did you see that photo?
Yes, I saw it.
Is it actual legitimate photo? Part of the
I
exhibit?
mean, It's very hard nowadays to establish anything, but
Okay.
from what I see, I mean, some main news outlets are putting it out, so maybe.
Okay, so now we have to decide now as a result of the information that was given by both parties, right? Who is worse, right? Who was worse? Was it the best idea to have the gentleman agreement, right? And should we just let it go?
Are they equal, or is one of them worse?
I think the Austin twins are worse. I mean, I think the Metcalf twins are worse. Yes,
And what makes them worse than Carmelo?
because the Metcalf, according to, because again, I haven't read it. How many people have Carmela Anthony abused physically?
Right, Calvin. Calvin, let me drop the link. Let me
Calvin, come
see.
on up, my friend. So I want to know how many people
Yeah, because
have he
Mama
physically.
Flips is starting to get on my nerves, quite frankly.
Oh, you just don't like the way you don't like the honesty. I want to
She's
know because
she's
according to
talking
my
about
understanding, there were 53 incidents with the Metcalf kids, right?
she's
It started when they were 10 years old, so they were little psycho any which way, right? So
hold
they
on,
were what
Calvin.
people are bad
Calvin, I'm gonna
kids.
send it to your text messages. Give me, I mean, to your Facebook page. Give me 1 second. Sorry, go ahead.
All right, they were called what we call back in the days bad seeds. Okay, they were born with deficiency. God rest the dead. So they have done nothing, everything to terrorize almost everybody in their life, including their mom and their dad. Okay, they hurt a lot of people. They said a lot of things. They had a lot of receipts. So I want to know. So, in my opinion, based on what I've heard on both sides, the twins were worse than Carmela Anthony. I have not yet seen anything that Carmela Anthony, including the fact that he said that he would take the poker and lick it, right? I have yet to hear anything that is worse than what I heard about the boys.
Really?
So yeah, so I just need to know
So,
more.
so were you offended when you heard the thing about black women and their wigs
I
and
wasn't.
glue?
I was. The reason why I wasn't offended is because I expected it from their parents. Because I told you very early on that I found out that Kamala Anthony family was MAGA supporters. I told you that. I told you that,
So
right?
that
So I
has
already
something to
knew.
do with glue and wigs?
It had something to do with the fact that they look down on black women. Yes, if he said that, if he said it, then yes, because if they're MAGA, right, and they're from that side of the country, a lot of times they feel, in my opinion, a lot of black MAGAs feel more better than other black people, right? So that's how I see it. So to me, it wouldn't surprise me. Hey, Kevin, it
Hey,
wouldn't
how you
surprise
doing?
me
This is
that
gonna be
he
a
would
night.
say something like that about black and brown people because he lives in that world, right? There's a higher expectation in that world, and they feel that they elevated from the rest of us. That's just my experience, right? That's just my experience. But with that said, I still have not heard anything, and you could tell me because I'm more than willing to change my position on it. That said that Kamala Anthony was worse than the Metcalf brothers. I haven't heard anything. So if anybody have anything, maybe he did something with maybe he unalived some animals and stuff like that. Anything that was in the report that I don't know about, please share.
Well, quite frankly, I would agree with you on this, but tonight I'm not agreeing with you on
Oh
anything. So
Lord, have
I'm
mercy.
if you go east, I'm going west. But
Okay,
you
so
know,
Calvin,
you make
what
a
about
good
you?
point. So go ahead.
What about you? Was there anything that you saw that you could share with me, share with the room, that would say to me that Carmelo Anthony actions in the receipts that was given was worse than the Metcalf brothers?
I don't think so. I think he was troubled, and I kind of knew a little bit of that kind of in the background. I didn't want to come out initially and say it because I didn't want to disparage him. I didn't want to put that out there, but I knew he was somewhat troubled in terms of even before this happened. But we have a lot of young people that are troubled. But with that being said, I don't think he was worse than them, and I'll tell you why. kids like that get away with a lot. When I say they get away with a lot, especially in a place like Collin County, they can be some hellions, and you not even know, and they're going to get away with it. And you know, the strange sickness to me about this gentleman's agreement is what I think of why it was done. And I think that we have always looked at it from the standpoint, we this gentleman's agreement was done so that the bad stuff didn't come in for Carmelo Anthony. And I don't look at it from that standpoint. The standpoint that I look at it from is the gentleman's agreement was done partially and mainly because when everything was about race, when Alexander went out there and made things about race, and then they start looking and they looked into the backgrounds of these boys and they had a lot of bad stuff about race. I think that that's where they thought it was very beneficial for them to make that gentleman's agreement. And see, therein lies the case management component that I've always talked to Mel about. If I walk into this case, and first of all, I wouldn't have done the press conference. However, if Dominique has already done that press conference and I can't pull it back, then I'm in this position, right? So if I'm in this position where he's made it about race, right? And all of a sudden, I get this treasure trove of stuff where these boys are in this, in that. You mean to tell me I'm getting ready to make a gentleman's agreement? No, 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 sir. No, 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 sir. I know I got some bad stuff on my side, but I'm gonna fight tooth and nail with the bad stuff on the other side, and I'm gonna try to frame the argument my way because there's two options I have: trust the prosecution, or and do a gentleman's agreement, or just go ahead and fight with the hand that I have in my hand and trust myself. And 100 times out of 100, I'm gonna trust me. That's who I trust me. That's who, as Scarface was saying, I trust me. That's who. Exactly. You know why? You know why I trust me?
What I'm gonna do.
Because there's no way. I don't know. I'm just gonna say this to y'all. Listen, why would you, in this situation, trust them out there when his life's on the line? Worski and them, they're the way that the folks in Collin County are going to look at them is on the line, right? Their reputations are on the line. You know, Worski, the way a lot of people out there, and I'm not just trying to make it about race, but a lot of people in Collin County are going to say, hey, Mr. Worski and Collin County DAs, hey, they killed one of us. What are y'all going to do about it? Mm-hmm. And that's going to be strong enough for me to say, I can't really trust him to do anything that's going to be in my benefit. I can't really trust him to, when the fire gets hot, to not burn me. Okay. And I just never understood that. Like, I wouldn't have understood that. But I do think, and I will tell you this, the fact that Worski and Toby Shook were friends, and I'll tell you this, I think Toby Shook is very angry at Bill Worski. And I don't think, it's not a fake anger. He's angry at his so-called friend. I'm telling you that right now.
He sacrificed them for the case. He sacrificed them for the case.
Yeah.
For the win.
But once again, I always tell people, and I had this conversation with Mel, when the whole entire nation is looking at you on a case, you got to be ready to go. You know, I just picked up a case, and I'll be telling y'all about it eventually, but there's going to be some eyes on me. So I got to put my best foot forward, and I got to be ready to go. You know, it's going to be tough. So even when you got a tough case, you got to put your best foot forward. And you're not going to be worried about what somebody's going to think about your friend. You're more concerned what they're going to think about you as a person, as a lawyer, your professionalism, your career. And I just wouldn't have, because this is a career-making case. Mm-hmm. This is a career-making case. I mean, I want you to think about this. Bill Werski right now can go work in any district attorney's office in the South and the state that he's licensed in now because he got this conviction. If he goes into private practice right now, he can go to any county in Texas, and that prosecutor on the side is going to probably give him a pretty nice deal. You know what I'm saying? So he knows that. And so that's part of why I just wouldn't have done it. And also, and I try to tell people this, culturally, that's why you got to have somebody from your own hue on your team, because that's important. But as far as Carmelo is concerned, I knew the young man had some problems, but I don't think he's any worse than those other Madcap boys. I think they just got different sets of issues. You know, I think Carmelo maybe has some violence issues, and I think the boys have some racism and violence issues combined with each other. And when you put your hands on your mom or threaten your mom, and I saw that picture, I don't know if it's real or not, because in today's world, I can't really say that.
Yeah, I know. We said the same thing.
But with that being said, I'm going to say this.
Yes.
Now, you know you ain't putting your hands on a black mama, so let's just talk about that first. I
have a picture of it. Not live. Yeah. Exactly. It's not gonna happen.
On occasion seen the other side put their hands on their mama. So I have on occasion seen that, but man, my mama caved my chest in.
Even today, my mama can't touch my mother a certain way. But here's
she caved my chest in.
But here's I can't even tell you what my mother did. Let me tell you something. My son is infamous in telling the story about how I raised him. Okay? Yeah. I was very hard and strict parent. And he will tell you, some of the things that, you know, I did back in the days is not legal now. Okay, in order to get him where he is. And he's a very well nationally known entertainer. My son did everything, including pokers. Okay. Okay. He done some stuff to the first act of violence was when he was 3 years old. Okay. He did a lot of things. If I would tell you half the things that my son has done that I had to go through the hospital when he was a kid, I actually thought that one time I even had a kid just like the Metcalf kids, right? But as they grow and they become men and they live through experiences, most of the kids, whether it's white or black, but most of the kids, black, they outgrow certain things, right? They become men, they become peaceful, they have family, they go to work, they learn how to manage, right? You grow out of these things. You don't grow out of hate. That's the difference, in my opinion, between Carmelo Anthony, unless you guys give me something that I have not heard, between Carmelo Anthony and those Metcalf kids. They were raised with hate towards other classes. I blame the mother and I blame the father. We obviously know the father, they came from the fruit of the father, because as soon as Carmelo Anthony was found guilty, he goes on live TV and called him a watermelon felon. And now I'm hearing this fool, and I don't like to disrespect survivors because I'm a survivor, is talking about having a not-for-profit in order to help who? Who is he helping? It's a joke. It's a joke. He can't even handle himself, right? You raise these monsters. They did damage to you. They did damage to the community, right? They did bad damage to their mom. You didn't fix them. But yet you want us as a community to now be okay with the fact that this young black man was railroaded because of you and your connections and your community, didn't get a fair trial, and we're supposed to say it's okay. Oh yeah, I understand. Look at the text. Look at the fact that he was upset with his girlfriend because they were going through trouble. Look at the fact that he said, you know, certain things. We should be okay with him being railroaded, right? I don't like that. The fact of the matter is everybody's supposed to have equal rights under the law. And I felt that they did not handle his case properly. That's how I felt. Go ahead, Carl.
And see, that's why I would have just preferred to just put everything out there.
Yes.
because if you just put everything out there, everybody hears everything. They hear, the other side gets to hear everybody what's said, because it's all that. And my whole deal is, one of the things that this has caused for me, and I think I said this to Mel one day earlier this week, self-reflection, in terms of truly understanding the arguments that even we have on our shows and watching other people's shows, and how outside the courthouse and all the debates on everybody's shows and how they look at this. But I've also looked at the human side. And when I say the human side, this young man is looking at doing potentially 35 years. People need to truly understand the gravity of having to do something like that. And when I say the gravity of it all, there's gravity in doing 35 years when you were in high school, and let's say 2 years ago, you were thinking that you were going to be playing college football, or you were going to be going to college and listening to the music and going to the movies on the weekend. And now you're in prison for 35 years, potentially, and or you're having to fight a huge court case. And the mom, the dad, even the other side, with everything that's been over there, and death and funerals and all your dirty laundry about your hate and your family and all this other stuff, and losing your loved one too as well. There's a human cost that's associated with all of this. And while we argue and debate about it, I think sometimes we lose sight of the human side of it all. Because, see, as a criminal defense attorney, when people walk back through those doors and the sheriff put them lock those handcuffs on them and take them to the back, man, it's heavy watching somebody walk back there knowing they're going to get a lot of time. I remember the first case, maybe my third year practicing law, I had a young man get a bunch of time. But he was doing a bunch of stupid stuff. And he had been convicted of a felony before. He was selling dope in a school zone out there in one of these Texas country counties. It was across the street, not too far from where a middle school was. He was dating the deputy sheriff's daughter.
Wow.
He was black, she was white. You know, he had a bunch of gold teeth. You know, he was dealing dope. The daddy didn't like him. The daughter was a rebel. He was dealing dope in the school zone. And I just remember he wasn't, when you talk to him, even though he was doing these things, he wasn't a bad guy. But I remember he got like 19 years. And I remember, because at my third year, I had never had anybody get that amount of time.
Wow.
And I was like, dang, that's a long time. And because we're in this country town, we're in this country town. It's, country town, country jury, you know how they do it down there. And it was unavoidable for us.
Yeah.
Because they had offered him more than that. He was
him
dealing a bunch of dope, and he could have got worse than that, because what they had offered him, I got him less than what they had offered him.
Yes.
But with that being said, it was still heavy because he was still a younger guy. He was still like 24, 25 years old, getting that amount of time. And I try to tell people, man, that's a lot to have to go through for somebody young. And Carmelo Anthony, he's a young guy, man. He's not mature. He's not mature enough in the mind to understand how much time that really is. Like, people understand, like, 10 years, that's like 3,600 days. 30 years is like 10,000. 30 years is like over 10,000 days. People have to understand that, and people don't. And so that's some real time to have to do for somebody.
And my whole thing, Kelvin, is this. I think one of the reasons why I push back a lot, and a lot of people don't want to listen to, is what the jury says. One of the jurors said that if I heard him tell his story, if I understood why he did it, I may have been able to give him less time or reconsider. That's my point. It wasn't a fair trial. All the information wasn't given out. He wasn't given the opportunity to speak on his own, and all they had was the judge and his biasness. Okay, he didn't allow certain other sentences to be given. This was a railroad. I think the prosecutor, the reason why he did that to his friend, his alleged friend, is because he was also influenced by the environment he is, and they wanted Carmela Anthony
I got a
by
question.
every means.
I got a question for you.
Go ahead.
How much of that is on us? When I say it's on us, how much of that is on his parents picking a lawyer? How much of it is on allowing somebody to come in, have press conference, have somebody come in and control that? How much of that is on them? And I'm not trying to blame them,
I
but
blame
how
them.
much of that is on them?
No, I blamed them very early on. I don't know if you ever heard me speak on the parents, with no disrespect to the parents, but I said I think this case is the first time the parents realized they were black, in my opinion. Because I heard originally, and I told Mel that very early on, that I hear that, and I couldn't find it, that there were pictures and notification that the parents was mega black, right? They moved out of the area, moved in that area. So, in my opinion, when you're black and you're a Make American Great candidate who voted for Trump, and there's been some indication that they voted for Trump, they have a different way of thinking, right? They have a different way of thinking. So, in my opinion, I don't think they were prepared for this type of scenario because they didn't expect it. Whereas people like that live in urban communities like Brooklyn and Raleigh, there's no way you would have railroaded my son like that. You understand? So I
Yeah,
said very early on, one of the first thing I said that unfortunately they just learned that they are black in America. You understand what I'm saying? So
yeah.
they didn't have the proper advice. They didn't have the proper they didn't have the proper the counseling. I don't know what they were thinking. Why would you as black parents trust this court in this area with your black son to give them a fair hearing? Like it didn't make any sense to me except for the fact they were comfortable. You understand? They had this the naivety to think that there was going to be fairness.
Well, to me, the frustration for me is I think being in Collin County, there's just certain things that are going to happen. You're not going to get more than two black jurors just because of the makeup of the county. That's never going to happen. So my expectations start there. All my expectations also start with there's just no way in my mind that I told y'all this, and everybody was on me about this, but I don't care if y'all mad at me if you want to. I just
I
said
know I pushed
ain't
back on a couple of things. I know.
ain't nowhere in the hell that you gonna sit there and be quiet. And you didn't stab this white kid in the heart
Hmm.
and out in Collin County, and you think you gonna sit there and be quiet, and you think you going home? Oh no,
They
you're not
didn't.
going home.
They
I
didn't.
think I think you're delusional.
Mhm.
I think anybody who thinks or thought that there was even a 0.000001% chance that in that situation that you're going to sit there, stab him in the heart, not speak to why you did it, and not saying that you didn't have a reason for doing it based on what you were thinking about why you did it.
Mhm.
We wanted to hear that. If you had a reason, we want to hear it. But if you're not going to give us that reason for why you did it, you think you finna sit there for a week and a half, have all of their witnesses come in and say whatever they're going to say.
And that's it.
You don't say a word. I don't even know how your voice sounds. And you think that you're going to go home. No, no, you're not going home, sir.
Mm-mm.
Not only are you not going home, if you don't say a word,
Mhm.
you definitely going to get a lot more time than the average. And I don't understand. I'm going to see, listen, you, November is my 25th year of doing this, okay? 25th year.
Happy anniversary. Coming.
25th year. Ain't no way in the hell that I ever am going to think that I'm going to sit and represent somebody, have him sit there and be quiet,
Mhm.
and think that he's just going to,
I mean, I
black on white in Collin County,
mhm.
death,
And it's
lethal
interesting.
weapon versus non-lethal weapon,
That's crazy.
that he's just going to the house.
But here's the
No.
thing. I think if it was, I still stand on if it was reversed that, and it was Kamala Anthony that was unalived, right? That Austin would have gone home, just the reverse. But here it is. Here's my thing about being black, because somebody made a comment about imagine Mama Flip telling somebody how to be black. I could tell somebody how to be black
Mm-hmm.
as a black woman in America. And I could also explain to people that's here, whether you black MAGA or not, how it is to be a mother that had to fight for her rights for our son. You see, my son had a gun charge. Okay? My son was facing 7 to 10 years. And you know who kept him out of jail? You know who did that? Me. 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 I got the right lawyer. I got the right representation. He got himself a YO because he was underage. I made sure I got the right people to write the letters for him.
And you got in there early, right? You got in there
And I
early.
got
You
it
did
in
it.
early. I got him into a program with the Police Academy Association. You don't remember that because he was a kid where he went to meetings. I had him speak to that. We went to church and we had a letter from the church. You understand what I'm saying? As a
Yes.
black mother in America, okay, who lived through this, we know what we have to do for our kids. For those, so those illusional people who talk about how I don't know how to imagine explaining being black, I could tell you how it is to be a black woman in America raising black kids. You see, a lot of our black brothers and sisters who I love dearly, no disrespect, don't wear the hat if you're not one of them. You guys have the delusion that we have equal rights in America. That's what your delusion is. In some areas, we are lucky to meet amazing people that look at us as equals and would afford us the rights, right, that we deserve. But America as a whole, historically, has always treated black people less than. So that means that we have to be more to equal them. You understand what I'm saying? So when you're talking to me, you're talking about a person from experience. Everything I talk about always, you may not agree with me. I may miss certain points. Things may have changed, but everything I talk about is based on reality and experiences. Do you understand what I'm saying? I just want to make that clear. And this is why when Calvin and I first started talking, and I was agreeing and disagreeing with some of the things he said, I was also basing it on some experiences.
Yes,
right?
and I understand
Calvin
that.
know
Definitely.
Texas, right?
Definitely. Yeah.
You know Texas, and let me tell you something. I hold you in very hard regards. Like, I love when I see you coming because you don't play around. You know what time it is. You already said that there were certain things that you were pushing, telling us that was going to happen, and you got it right, by the way. Congratulations. You called this whole thing that a lot of us was like, nah, man, that's not going to happen. And you called it all. You prepared it. You said, look, I don't want to tell y'all, prepare yourself. Did you not say, prepare yourself for it to be denied? Did you not say
Yep.
that to us?
I said it because I know. I know
Yes.
what's going to happen.
Exactly.
I know what's going to happen.
100% right.
And I'm telling you right now, the chances of an appeal are very slight. And a lot of it is slight because it goes back, and I hate to say this, it goes back to that gentleman's agreement. And people go like, why you keep going back to that? Because there was a whole line of questioning that did not happen that should have happened. There were a whole lot of decisions that Judge Roach would have had to make, a whole lot of mistakes that he could have made. that would have been reversible error. There were a whole lot of objections that he could have denied or overruled or sustained that could have not been the right answer. And there were a whole host of things because you didn't let the case play out like it was supposed to play out, that now as the appeal attorney comes in, he has less of a slate to actually try to work with. It's like you got to finish a painting, but people left you with less supplies and a smaller canvas.
Yes.
And Mr. Wilson is going to try to work with the less supplies and the smaller canvas that he has. He's really good at working with less supplies and a smaller canvas, but you can only do so much with that. And I think he's going to take the best route that he can take with the supplies and the canvas that he does have. But it's a very, very narrow road that he's going to try to navigate through. And I would say, if you wanted me to put percentages on it, 15%, 20% chance.
Yeah.
80% sustained, everything stays the way it is. And the only reason why I'm giving it 15, 20% is because it's Russ. If it was the average person, I would give it less than that.
Yeah.
And the reason why I say that, y'all, is because as a lawyer, I see automatically what's going to happen. And people say, well, automatically. Like, I'll say, hey, that gentleman's agreement is not going to be much of an issue for the appeals court. And then I'll have 50 people come on here and argue me down about that. Because they'll dismiss me and they'll say, no, but they did this and they can't do that. And this look, no, look, I know the reason why they say on the record, the reason why I want everything on the record is because you have stuff on the record to protect yourself. When I have a client that I don't trust that will walk into a courtroom and lie on me, I always say on the record, Judge, I had a guy who was saying that I wasn't helping him a couple of weeks ago. And he pissed me off because he snitched on himself twice.
Wow.
He snitched on himself out in the field on the body cam to an officer. And he snitched on himself in the interrogation room and told him what kind of gun he had. And he was back inside the holdover clowning. He was trying to lie. And I said, oh, no. And the judge said, Calvin, you want this on the record? You want your court reporter? I said, oh, yeah, Judge, call the court reporter out here. We put it all on the record. And as a matter of fact, I put on the record, I said, Judge, as a matter of fact, I want you, and since the court's over today, could y'all clear the courtroom? I want to bring the video monitors up. I want everybody to leave the courtroom. I'm going to play 2 snippets of him telling it on himself today. And I want it to be on the record that I'm going to show him that today.
Good.
And the reason why you do that, so if that guy tries to file a complaint on me, if he tries to lie on me, if he tries to go back on and say something happened that did not happen, that's how you protect yourself. If you do not do that, they teach all of us lawyers this. If you do not do that, you're on your own. And all of us lawyers know that. So when they get to the Court of Appeals, you know what those appeal judges are going to say, y'all? They're going to say, you knew to put this on the record, right?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, you didn't put it on the record?
So we can't consider it. We can't consider it. Yeah.
That argument's gone.
I feel the defense, I think, I know the defense is angry with the prosecutor, but I don't think the defense really wanted to win the case. It might just be me. I just don't think that he felt that it was beneficial for him to win the case, because if he would have been the one that won a case of allowing this young man to get out of there. So that's my feeling. I think that even though they played him for a fool, I think the gentleman agreement made it easier for him to be able to breathe and lose the case.
Mel, what did I say to you? Didn't we have this conversation?
Yes.
Me and Mel had this conversation, and what I said was, I always say culture. And see, I'm going to keep it real, right? Let's say I'm just going to have, we our family.
Yes.
We have family conversation. Family meeting. I'm going to call it meeting. We're going to have a real family meeting right here. Listen. The reason why I would have fought like hell is because I want to be invited. Like I said, told Mel, I want to be invited to the barbecue.
Mhm.
I want to go to the Maze concert and dress in all white. You know, I want to be at the 4th of July. I want to dance in the Soul Train line. And when the homecoming game come out, I want y'all, the band playing for me when they march. And the reason why I say this to y'all is because I want to go back to my community and my culture, and I want people to respect me. And I always tell people this because if you end up being the guy that caused this guy to walk, is a country club sometimes going to accept you? Is a Rotary Club going to accept you? Is the so-and-so going to accept you? You may hurt your own business by winning.
Yes,
You understand what I'm saying?
I agree.
And
Yes.
and I'm not saying that for everybody that's how it is, because I know some lawyers, they don't give a damn. They're like, look, I'm trying to win. I don't care if you green, black, white, or green. I'm trying to win. I don't care what color you are. But there is that thought that you want to be careful about that when you got a case like this. There is a thought of that. And that's why I always said that it would have been nice to have at least one person of color on your team, because that one person of color gonna go,
Yeah, we're not doing that.
oh, we ain't doing no gentleman's agreement. Y'all can miss me with that.
Hmm.
I'm not putting my reputation on the line with that, because y'all not gonna get me uninvited to the barbecue. I'm going to that barbecue next year.
That's it.
I'm not gonna walk into a barber shop and everybody turn their back like they went
Ooh.
on break. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
No, I'm serious.
I agree.
I'm serious. And when you look at it from that standpoint, I want to be able to walk in my community and hold my head up high, right?
That you did the right thing.
That's
That
why
you
you
did.
gotta.
And I want to make clear, because a lot of people keep commenting about it, about, that shall not utter lie, that shall not lie. There's a lot of things in the Bible that the current administration is not heeding to. There's a lot of,
Mhm.
if we read in the Bible, right, and we are Christian, we wouldn't have, most of you guys wouldn't have vote who's in office right now. So can we just put the Bible down and have a true conversation? You guys don't care about the Bible or what that shall not do any which way. But with that said, though, none of us here is saying that. I know there's been some people that was very strong about Kamala Anthony running and not and being released, right? Being
Mhm.
released. I was one that's like, okay, if it was a self-defense, that I want to see what that looked like, right? What
Mhm.
we're saying is that Kamala Anthony did not have a fair trial. That's what we're saying. That's what we're fighting for, right? When under in America, even though America's effed up right now, we are supposed to have certain rights under the Constitution, and the fair trial is one of them. That was not a fair trial in any which way. It was railroaded. We've never seen anything like that where you have a trial, the judge doesn't give other sentencing option. Then after that, he keeps the jury late. Then once the jury find the person guilty, then after that he's able to sentence the person the same day, and then shift the person to the final jail. That is not done in that short period of time. So they
And,
already had it in their mind what was going to happen, and that's our problem for most of us. Go ahead,
and,
Calvin. I'm sorry.
and y'all, this is what I'll say, and I try to make people understand my biggest problem with all of this. My biggest problem with all of this is process. And I want everybody to understand, because as a lawyer, my biggest problem is process. When I say my biggest problem is process, is when I say, did somebody get a fair trial? This is not what I mean by fair trial. This doesn't look like a fair trial. A gentleman's agreement where you don't talk about stuff, where one side is okay with the gentleman's agreement where they're questioning their witnesses, but when you start questioning yours, they go, oh no, you opened the door over something that's small and minuscule. To me, a open and fair trial is make it open to the public, talk about it all, put it all out there. The defense fight hard, the prosecution fight hard, put all the facts out there. Um, when it comes to sentencing, uh, have the defendant testify, have the mother testify, have some character witnesses testify on his behalf. If the state wants to bring people in there, they're going to say bad things about him, then y'all can bring them in there too. I want an open and fair process from beginning to end. My whole argument is process. But I will tell y'all one thing, and I said this in the beginning, I said it on my Facebook page when all of this first happened, and I had a lot of people, black and white, get mad at me. None of this was worth it. I don't care what nobody say. None of it was worth it. I mean, for nobody to have this young man serve 35 years, have the other young man dead, it's not worth it. Yeah. I don't care what nobody say. It's not worth it. You don't raise your kids for however they were and how they are, and for however people feel about Carmelo, because you got white folks that hate Carmelo, you got black folks that hate Austin and Hunter. However y'all feel about them, that's fine. But you don't raise your kids 17, 18 years, one of them to die and the other one to go to jail for 35 years. I don't wish that on nobody, regardless of how they feel. Somebody want to be racist, I ain't going to run up and hug them. But I'll tell you one thing, I'm not going to let them dictate who I am as a person and how I feel and how I think. They don't get to do that. Just because they want to be buttholes, and just because they want to be racist, and just because they want to have pollution pollute their minds, I'm not going to let it pollute mine. And that's just how I was raised, and everybody's not going to like that. I have black folks get mad at me. You mean to tell me? No, I'm not going to let them determine how I feel about the rest of the white folks. And that's just how it is. You know, you're going to have some good and you're going to have some bad. There's some bad. And there's some good. There's some good us. There's some bad us. There's some good them. Damn sure some bad them. So it's going to be what it's going to be. But at the end of the day, to me, it's a societal failure that is 18-year-olds, two 17-year-olds, two 18-year-olds ended up dead. One ended up dead, the other one ended up doing 35 years. Nobody won in this. And I'm not happy either way by anybody dying. I'm not happy about nobody getting no 35 years, regardless of somebody being a racist asshole on the other side, and regardless of how you feel about black people on this side. None of this makes me happy. It just doesn't. It's sad.
I do want to say one thing about the policy and procedure. The fact that something as simple as the mom crying throughout the trial was crazy to me. I've never heard such a thing in my life. You're not supposed to show emotion, but that's just something as basic as this policy, right? In regards to the unalignment and both being it shouldn't have happened. It should not have happened at all. That incident shouldn't have happened in either case. One, the parents should have, Kamala Anthony parents should have had a better understanding of their son and what their son is going through and stuff like that. Better understanding of what their son had in their bag. They should have had a better understanding about the crisis he was going through. Did they give him support and mental health services? And as far as the boys, these boys shouldn't have even been allowed in that school. They should have been expelled from that school a long time ago with half the things, and they should have been sent to military school or reform school or something. Those kids should not have been with the rest of these kids at all. So both parents are at fault. I just feel that more strongly about the meth labs twin, because there was so much hatred there, where I did not get as much hatred for Kamala Anthony, because I guess I didn't see everything, but for them, it was just compiled with so many different things with them. And also, I really feel that Austin is the one that attacked Carmelo, right? And because he attacked Carmelo, that was where I would say, like, we should at least visited that part of it to not give him 35 years. I don't think that, because they try to make it because of his text that he intentionally carried that multi-purpose tools and said that, I'm gonna poke the first YT kid I saw. That was the implication. That's the implication now, right? I don't think that's true. So that's where I land.
I just wanna hop in for 1 second, guys. So So
Yeah.
for all the people out there, when I kept telling you that one of the kids described that Austin used a football move on Carmelo, and everybody was saying, "Oh no, he was sitting there politely." So because I went to the trial, they have the names redacted, but pretty much I remember who said what.
Hmm.
So that's how I was able to find it. So anyway, the question, and I'm grabbing somebody. I think you said by the shoulders. The kid says, "Yeah, in between the shoulders, right here." So he's describing how Austin was getting, like Calvin said, he was picking up Carmelo, trying to get up under him with the lineman's drill. The question, in between the shoulders, so kind of high chest up here where the lapels of the coat are. Okay, the kid says, "Yes, sir." The question is, okay, so he is grabbing him and then closing his fist to grab, right? The kid says, "Yes, sir." The question, and then picking up. And the kid says, "The best way I can describe it is like a lineman's drill where they like push them up like that. That's the motion." The kid's describing that's how Austin grabbed Carmelo.
Yeah, and see that's a problem, and I said that to y'all before. Once you get somebody like that, like I told y'all, my best friend in college was an all-conference offensive lineman. My domino partner was an all-conference offensive lineman, and once he got you like that, you were done. You can't move, you can't move your arms, and he can control where you're going. He can lead you down the hallway. He can take you to the refreshment stand. He can take you back to your bench, sit you down. He can go sit you up there next to your parents in the stands if he wants to. He basically control where you go once he gets you in that move. And so that's something that you gotta look at. But I'm telling y'all, this whole case really bothered me because of the process of not allowing just everything to be open and have everything just play out naturally. That's the biggest problem I got with it. Whether you feel like you like the comments that Carmelo made, or like the comments that Austin made, or don't like the comments that the Metcalf boys made or Carmelo made, whether you like those comments or not, all of that stuff should have came out so everybody could make the decisions about them. And
Okay.
that's just what I would have preferred, because now that particular jury who made the decision, they didn't get to hear all of that stuff. They didn't get to see all of that stuff. And now there's no way that they can hear or see all of that stuff. And to me, that's just the way the case should have played out. That's the way it's supposed to play out. And it didn't. And that's the biggest problem that I got with it.
I agree. I totally agree. And by the way,
Yeah.
with one comment, it wasn't a butchered poker. It was a multi-purpose 3.5 inch tool with a knife in it. All
Mhm.
right. So can we not share misinformation in the chat?
But you know what? I always try to tell people, you're not going to, a lot of these folks in the chat, they're going to be how they're going to be.
Yeah.
Everybody's going to have their opinion. Everybody's going to put their twist on however things are. And that's just kind of what you're going to get, even when you go to jury trials.
Yeah.
People are going to come in feeling a particular way. And one thing I will say to parents, when you decide where you're going to live, where you're going to take your kids, what you're going to do, but when you decide to move to these suburban areas, better control your kids. I'm
Yes.
gonna keep it real. I'm gonna say this to y'all. Everybody like, nah. You better control your kids, because an inner city mistake is different from a suburban mistake.
I know.
Is especially in Texas.
I know.
So you move your kid to one of the suburban areas out here in Texas, leave Dallas County, go to Rockwall, go to Collin, go to Tarrant, go to any of these little counties around here, and not have your kids well behaved. And you're gonna pay a tax for that.
Mhm.
You're gonna pay a behavior tax. So I'm just keeping it real. You want to hear it? You're hearing it today. Move your kid out of Dallas County, around these other little counties that surround Dallas County, and I guarantee your kid's gonna pay a behavior tax.
I agree. I used to say one of my roles for many years was a gun violence prevention advocate, and I used to argue with what I call pro-gunners, people who believe in Second Amendment gun rights all the time. And I've met some amazing gun owners, but they were of black brothers and sisters, and I had conversation with them. It's like, yeah, we have a Second Amendment right. I said, that's all nice and good. You come to New York with one of those on your side and see one of those police officers black brother, they're not gonna have a conversation with you. Whereas if there was a white brothers and sisters that had the they're gonna look at them as if they're a detective or an officer. You see, you have this misconceived notion that everybody don't see your color, and that's my problem. People see your color first before they see who you are. It's not the same when it comes to white people. So this is why we have to be extra careful. But people don't want to hear it, because when you start speaking like that and explaining things to them, especially the ones that believe that we are over acism and that we're all equal and loving and living in a rainbow community, right? They don't want to hear the truth. They don't. And
I
that's
always
why they're
told
not
people that
prepared.
I always told people that this open carry stuff was a trick. It was a trick.
Of course it was.
The reason why I say it's a trick, because one of us, a black man carrying a gun
Oh,
around, is hey, it's alarms.
they take it out all the time. They take, you know how many people got killed? I mean, unalive killed. We're in YouTube, TikTok, in Texas. That's black and brown, and they actually had the rights to open carry to carry. But you see a bunch of other people, because I did the work. I did the work for many years. You would see one black person walking with a open carry. They'll have like three cops following him and asking him questions. You see like a bunch of them having an M16, a full rifle, and nobody say anything. Like, come on, like we just have to keep it real in America. We're not saying, because a lot of people like to say that, especially Mel, they like to say I'm always throwing the race card. I use the race card because I live the race card. You understand what I'm saying? And we just have to be real. But I think Mel want to move over to the. Go ahead, Mel. You want to move into Nolan Wells?
Well, I'm just going to show you guys something really quickly here.
Yes.
In bodies of water, the person will stay in pretty much the location where they go underwater. Usually a body after a couple of days surfaces. So I've seen drownings where the person is underwater for a period of time. Their body is pretty well preserved, unless we're talking about like multiple days, weeks that this person is underwater. Usually the water is cooler temperature, and if that person is face down in the water or completely submerged, their body is pretty well preserved until they surface. Usually a body after a couple of days surfaces. So I'm really surprised that he was on the shore. I've never personally investigated a drowning case where a person just ends up on the shore, especially if there's not a strong current or waves. Usually in bodies of water, the person will stay in pretty much the location where they go underwater if it's witnessed. They don't usually move around much after they have submerged or gone underwater. So to me, it's very concerning that he was on the shore, or that his body surfaced that quickly. But that's what I am guessing is why they couldn't do an immediate visual identification with the family or even fingerprints. So I would really like to know more about the condition of the body. That's what I am assessing as a death investigator when I respond to a scene. So there should be a death investigation report from a death investigator who has experience looking at bodies and has experience examining these type of things, to show exactly what his condition was when he was found. And if the body is decomposed more than what you would normally expect in a drowning case, that should be a big red flag. That's something that you definitely need to look into further.
So you're saying, let me follow up on what you just said. You find it odd that he was quasi on the shore. You also stated that location where the body is found is typically where they went under. You also said that the body must have been too decomposed to make a facial ID. I did not hear an explanation as to why fingerprint ID.
Go ahead, Calvin.
Mel, the reason why I said that, I think I shared something with you about one of my closest childhood friends getting pushed into a lake and drowning when I was a kid. And when he came up, when they found him, he came up where he was out. He didn't come up at the shore. They pushed him out in the lake. He came up. He didn't drown. He didn't get back up on shore. So that would surprise me that they found him on shore. When his body surfaced, it kind of surfaced where he went under. Because when they pushed him to under the water, we were told that he when they pushed him in the lake, um, he was trying to swim back, but he couldn't swim, and a current took him out. And then when he came up, I guess he came up right where he went under. When his body finally came back up, he didn't come back up to shore. He came back up. His body was out in the water. So for his body to come back to shore, that's weird.
Yep, that's just another weird story. I mean, I think, because I
Weird.
heard Nancy Gray, and I think the person that was with Miss Christina, and I didn't get his name. They did a show today together. I think he said that the wave may have brought him into the shore, but it
Hmm.
didn't make sense to me because I have not heard that there was a huge wave, right? That
Hmm.
came that would have pushed him back in the shore, right? That's one.
Yeah.
Two, he was on the other side of the island. If he was supposed to be, how did he get over there? Three, the family with a boat. The father and his friend took a boat and searched the island themselves and didn't see him. There's nothing about this that makes sense. Nothing about this that makes sense. Because if he's driving around, right? And we haven't heard anything about any big waves. We didn't hear anything about a storm or anything like that, right? Then when he drove around, he would have, if his son was in the water, like you said, most likely you would have seen the sun, right? Unfortunately, thank God he didn't. But all of this doesn't make sense, though. It just doesn't make sense to us of what happened to him with that young man.
I just and once again, it's funny we talk about Texas, but Mississippi, man. Let's be real.
Mhm.
It's Mississippi. It's Mississippi. So you know, it's Mississippi.
And they're spending so much time on the boys that was in the photo, right?
Yeah.
None of us is saying that the boys in the photo was the ones that did anything to Nolan. We don't know. We don't know
Mhm.
what they were part of. Not. It could have been after the fact. It could have been they were involved with nothing. The thing is that there's so much protecting of those boys or the young men or whatever that no one is really investigating what is, in my opinion, what actually happened to Nolan, and that's why we're stuck. Because if it wasn't them, it could have been somebody. So who's that somebody? If it was a
See,
drowning, why don't we know it's a drowning? It's just ridiculous. I'm sorry, Kelvin. What were we saying?
no, I think what that's how we're all missing. And I think more importantly is when you have those young men, I think the lack of an investigation is happening because you have young men that may not have had anything to do with it, but if they're put under suspicion of having something to do with it, the suspicion alone could hurt their future, right? And I think that in a place like Mississippi, those parents are going to do whatever they can to make sure that their boys are not even hooked on to any suspicion.
But it's just too
And
late, Kelvin. That's the problem. The problem is too late. They handled it wrong. They completely misread the situation. They misread the room. They handled it wrong. There's certain ways to handle things. Again, I always say things based on experience. One of my work is working with survivors of gun violence, right? And the
mhm.
drowning of violence is different. You know how to act when sometimes you have people that's guilty that completely act like they're innocent, and you have innocent people that act like they're guilty, right? But in a sense, when you have innocent people act like they're guilty, you have to look at them, and especially today of social media, we're going to see what you're doing. From the very beginning, you guys acted, your parents act like you guys were guilty. From the very beginning, every aspect of it shows that something is missing. Some information is missing.
But
There's
see,
something was hidden. It just seems that way. And perception is everything sometimes in these cases.
but I'm gonna tell you what they're gonna do.
Hmm.
We say something is missing, and what they're gonna say is, I'm just protecting my son's constitutional legal rights. And I'm making sure, because my son or daughter didn't have anything to do with it, I'm just making sure that I protect their futures. And see, I'm telling you right now,
They should have let them shut up. And that's what I've been saying all this time. None of
exactly.
these kids. No, I said all this time from the very beginning of the case when I came back from Bali's. My
Mm,
first video, the moment I stepped back into the United States, was like, I'm looking at these kids and they out here saying too much. What they need to do is shut their damn mouths, right? Allow this to go through, support their families, and that's it. That's what they should have done. They out here acting like they're privileged to the point where they felt so comfortable to say, hey, I didn't do nothing. Believe me. No, that's not how it works in America. Shut up. Let the investigation go on.
hey,
And then after that, move forward. But that's not what they did. They just handled it the wrong way, in my opinion.
I'm gonna keep it real with you. I don't think nothing gonna happen to nobody.
Oh, I don't think so either. Not
I
in
ain't
today's
nothing gonna happen to
society.
nobody. I mean, I'm
Not,
just
not unless they have direct
listen.
evidence that they did something. I don't think so either.
I have a sister that lives in Mississippi, and I have a niece that lives in Mississippi. Nothing's gonna happen to nobody there, I don't think. Unfortunately. And it's
Unless
very
they find this
unfortunate. Yeah.
unless they find concrete evidence, because the thing is nobody's going to believe them anyway, because right now they're crying because they have people pointing fingers at them at their own community, right? And if
Mhm.
the community is mostly white folks and they're not being able to buy some whatever, what was he trying to buy, Red Bull, that means
Yeah.
people are already looking at y'all. You're never going to be comfortable. You're never going to be
Look,
comfortable 100% comfortable until we find the answers.
I just feel like if they find something, I don't think that I wouldn't be comfortable with those people in Mississippi leading the investigation unless you get an outside agency where no one in that particular municipality or that area. Um, to me, it would take something like a federal government investigators to come in there. I wouldn't trust anybody from that town, that county, or the state to come in and do a fair investigation of what happened there. And if that's where the investigators are going to be, yeah, I don't think anything gonna happen to anybody. But listen, yeah, I got to get ready to eat. My dinner's here.
Thank
I
you for
got.
being here. I know it
Hey,
was a
listen, we
surprise
always have
to
a
see
great
you.
stream. We might not always agree, but
Yeah,
everybody have their strong points of view. But the one thing I love though is to me the best shows is where people don't always agree with each other.
I agree. I
Because
agree.
I don't want to sit on a podcast where everybody's hugging each other all the time. I want people to be passionate about how you feel and about disagreeing with stuff. So we all right. We may agree on a lot of stuff, disagree on some stuff. But look, we here. We're having a conversation. We're giving different viewpoints and
Yes.
the way we see things. That's what this channel is about. That's what you're about. That's what's Mel about, and that's what I'm about. So let's enjoy,
Yeah.
and we'll do it again. We'll see what
Yes.
happens in the future. I actually talked to Russell today. He's doing fine. I had to
Okay.
refer him another case.
Tell him we
so
said thank you. Tell him we said
so
thank you and good luck. Tell him to say
yeah,
thank you and good luck for all he's doing.
for sure. And I might be on a case, but I can't really discuss it because I'm going to be in a case. But maybe after I finish it, I may discuss it a
Do
little
you
bit. But
think you
we'll
could
talk
get,
about
since
it.
you know Russell, do you think you get Russell after everything is done to come on our show?
I might get him to get on here. I'll ask him about it. But it's kind of
Tell him
rough for him because this
about a
thing is
crazy woman that
this
that
thing has legs. This damn case got legs on legs, and then at our courthouse, the Yellow Beezy trial is taking over everything. Or the Keywan White case is taking over everything. The bloggers are in the hallways arguing with each other. The bailiffs are trying to tell the bloggers not to talk to the jurors. And that's one thing I can say about Mel and yourself and some of the other people that actually attend these trials. Y'all actually follow the judge's instructions and y'all don't do no mess like that. We actually had some bloggers in that particular trial walking up trying to talk to jurors, and the bailiff was like, "What you doing? You can't do that. You can mess up the whole jury pool, mess up the whole trial." And it's one of those things where, somebody, he tried to walk up, he had to get stiff armed, so it's one of those things where you got to be very, very careful with stuff, but that case is taking over the entire courthouse. I'm telling you, you go to the 7th floor, man, you can't even walk on that side.
I didn't hear nothing about this case. Is it a current case now?
Well, so I'll tell what it is. There's 2 rappers in Dallas named Yellow Beezy and Mo 3.
Okay.
It was a case where on the freeway.
Yes, I know about that case. Yes.
Yeah. So that's the case that's going on right now. That's the case that's going on right now.
I saw the video. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Okay. Mel,
Yeah, that was crazy, but it's pretty interesting case. So we may talk about it eventually. I can't really. The reason why I don't really talk about it a lot because I know too many of the people.
Okay.
I know a lot of people connected to each other, and unfortunately, my cousin used to be security for Yellow Beezy.
Really?
So yeah, so I know so many people.
Mel, you gotta interview him about that.
Oh my God, I can't touch it. I can't touch that because this thing has so many legs. But when it's over, we'll all talk about it. We'll see what happens. All right.
Thank you for coming. Bye.
All right, y'all take care.
Bye-bye.
Watching from the window as the rain begins to fall. Different streets, but we're walking through it all. You carry your story and I carry mine, but the weight feels the same when we stand in line. And I know we don't look the same, but I hear you calling my name, standing together, watching the world go around, standing together, we won't let it tear us down. Your hands know a language mine never learned, but the fire inside us both still burns. Different colors painted on the same old sky. Every shade is beautiful if you just look twice. And I know we don't sound the same, but I feel you calling my name, standing together, watching the world go around, standing together, we won't let it tear us down, standing together, our differences keep us strong, standing together, this is where we belong. Nobody said it would be easy to see through another man's eyes, but the love that we keep building is worth every compromise, standing together, watching the world go around, standing together, we won't let it tear us down, standing together, our differences keep us strong, standing together, this is where